Let's get this project started and let's break down some plywood. Getting this board centipede has been a real game changer for me, mainly for my knees and my back, which I'm all for. And then using the Craig panel carrier has been great too. Now I can lift these sheets of plywood solo. To actually break down the plywood, I'm gonna use my track saw with my dust extractor because I hate dust and dust is very annoying. This is just my general workflow for cutting pieces. I use my edge rulers with the stop to measure both sides, and I bust out with the T-square to connect the lines. That way when I line up the track, I can get a nice clean cut. Now the plywood is all cut into the pieces I need. I'll start building the desk by making the end panels. I'm going to use my domino to connect the plywood piece to a few 2x2s. Another way to do this is to use pocket hole joinery. I always dry fit things before I glue it up, just to make sure that they're fitting the way they're supposed to. And speaking from experience, it sucks going in the back and having to fix things. But I make 2 of these and then I glue them together, and then we move on to the next thing. Next is the drawer part of the desk. I cut a few strips on the table saw, and then I cut them down on the miter saw. I'm going to use this for the top part of the drawers. I brought out the old homie, the Craig pocket hole jig, and I just made some pocket holes. I'm going to use these pieces to connect the end panels together. I wanted to try something different. I made 2 Morrises in the middles for the dominoes to keep the alignment on point. And after that, I used the Craig pocket holes on the end. And I kind of like this because I didn't need to wait for the glue to dry, and then I could just keep moving. You know what they say, time is money. I repeated the same process for the other side with the domino and the pocket hole screws. And my father-in-law was here to help me with this part, which is kind of nice. It's always good to have a helping hand. I installed the 3rd leg with some pocket hole screws, and we got something that looks like a desk. I like the way this is coming together. I cut some leftover 1x2 pine boards I had from the previous project, which was the slat wall bookcase we made. Check it out if you ain't seen that video, link it down below. But we just used some glue and some brad nails to install it, and it came out looking pretty sharp. For the top of the desk, I'm going to use my domino, mainly because I just want to keep the joinery hidden. I love using this tool. It's definitely my favorite one. Right now, kiddo's totally loving this desk, and she's super excited and she can't wait to just get up in her room and use it. But we will revisit this part later in the video. Let's get started on the drawers. To put the slides on, I just used some spacers and I screwed them in. It's pretty simple, nothing too complicated here. To build the drawers, I broke the plywood down on my table saw, and I took it over to the miter saw and made a few more cuts. I used my domino for the joinery, but I'm gonna just show the glue up here because we've already seen the domino before and we don't need to see it again. But enjoy this little short clip and we'll finish out these drawers. To put the bottom on the drawers, I just used some glue and brad nailed it down. I use my trim router just to clean up the outside. To install the drawers, I set it down on the 1/4 inch sheet of plywood. Then I'll insert the screws for each side. And for the last screw, I'll take it out so I can insert that 3rd screw. Then I'll insert the drawers back in, give it a few test runs, and we're off to the next thing. I use my trim router to clean up these edges, as we don't want the kiddo getting any cuts from any of these sharp edges. Then it's time to return to the top section and get it glued together. Took me a few minutes to figure it out, but I got it. And then I just connected it, clamped it up. I'm gonna let it dry overnight and we'll revisit the next day. And we've got another Craig jig on deck as I drilled some self-pin holes for the adjustable shells. And I did come back later and I did add a few more just for some more flexibility, because you never know what kids are going to be having these days. They could have a lot more stuff than they do now. Stay tuned. For those adjustable cells, I cut a piece of plywood down the size and I glued and brad nailed some more of that leftover 1x2 pine board to act as some edge banding and give it a little thicker look, make it look a little bit better. I couldn't leave the top shelf hanging, so I had to give that a little bit of trim too. And once again, I used the 1x2 boards, and I like using these rockler clamps, and it held it in place while I hit it with some brad nails. It was very helpful. It made it a lot easier. Let's transition back to the drawers and work on the front of them. I'm using another Craig jig to drill these holes. It's very simple and it's very effective to use. I highly recommend it. To get the fronts on, I'm going to use the infamous card playing tricks to get that even spacing. And then I'm going to insert 2 screws through the holes for the pulls so I can open the drawers up and I can screw it in from the inside. We're screwing these holes on the inside, so when we take the screws out in the front will still stay attached and we ain't gotta worry about it. So I'm gonna unscrew the screws in the front, then I'm gonna insert the hardware, and I did end up putting a piece of wood behind it because I want to avoid the blowout so we can keep that inside looking clean and ain't gotta clean it up afterwards. Then we're gonna go ahead and insert these pulls, and we're gonna end up repeating that same process for the second drawer. After a bit of doing these for a good minute, it's not that bad once you get the hang of it. It just takes a little bit of practice, and one day you'll end up like a pro. I mean, that's the goal, isn't it? Suppose the last thing I need to do is put on the back. I made these cuts with the track saw, nailed it in, but you'll see. So I messed that up right there. That was not supposed to be there, didn't not even. But to fix this, we have a simple solution of adding trim. So I think we will try that, see how it looks. I hit it with some instant accelerator glue and spray, and then I add the trim and we are done. And here you can see where we fixed that gap with the trim. I like the way this turned out. Actually makes it look a little better than before. And here we got our adjustable shelves that we made earlier, and she can pretty much use them for whatever she wants, so it worked out good. And here's the final reveal. She's got her Lego message board, her clock, a couple Legos, Disney Castle, and Frozen, of course, some medals, trophies. But overall, it looks awesome. She uses it all the time, and it was totally worth it. And that's a wrap, folks. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.